Good afternoon, friends. Myself, Sandeep Sonwalkar. I am President for PR Professional, and I welcome all of you in this presence because I'm also getting an opportunity to interact with you. I was basically 30 years journalist with various channels, and I've joined now PR. So I know both sides, how journalists basically wanted to news and crisis management, and while how the PR companies deal with this. So I would like to share some points on this. It's most important to share with the marketing persons also because you are the one who already give us the budgets for corporate communication. Normally, every corporate communication guy, those we have work, they always complain कि boss budget नहीं मिलता है, वो marketing वालों को थोड़ा आप बोलो. So this is the opportunity where I can say कि थोड़ा सा budget corporate communication में और crisis communication में बढ़ाएं तो कम से कम आपको ज़्यादा results मिल सकते हैं. So basically today boss, I will basically on focus on क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन बिकॉज मुझे लगता है कि सबसे कठिन टाइम यदि किसी के लिए है इस समय तो वो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए है क्योंकि इस समय एक तरफ जहाँ इंटरनेशनल प्रेशर्स हैं दूसरी तरफ लोगों को ये प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही है क्योंकि उनको डेली आफ्टर कोविड सो मच इफेक्ट ऑन फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन उनको एवरीडे फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस से गुजरना पड़ता है और क्राइसिस को लेकर मैनेजमेंट हमको लगातार करना पड़ता है. सो थोड़ा सा मैं आपको बैकग्राउंड बताना चाहूँगा व्हाई आई हैव चूजन दिस सब्जेक्ट. Because see, the banks are facing not only the crisis in local but also global also. Many banks internationally now bankrupt. But the difference between India and other international banks, the difference is international agencies or international, you can say government normally support their bank for the financial crisis. But here, normally when the crisis comes, government सीधे बोल देती है कि आपका बैंक है, आप जानो जैसे देखना है देखो. So both side is वो different. So Indian banks basically, or Indian NBFCs, or Indian financial institutes are facing big problem. Even other marketing, other companies also, those who are connected to with the financial market, they are also facing the crisis because there is so much pressure. First and foremost pressure है वो सबसे government की policies का. Government policies are day by day going stringent for them. They are every day changing the policies, or sometimes they are making stringent. आप recently must be read कि NBFCs के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने नया पॉलिसी लाया है कि इफ़ दे आर गिविंग लोन्स इन स्पेशली स्मॉल लोन्स एंड हाई रिस्क लोन दे हैव टू बेसिकली कवर मोर देन दैट. सो ऑब्वियसली बैंक्स अंडर प्रेशर और उसके चलते उनके शेयर्स में प्रॉब्लम्स हुई. दिस इज ऑल्सो बिग क्राइसिस. सो आई विल बेसिकली ब्रॉडरली आई विल से 2-3 क्राइसिस नॉर्मली इन दिस फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर्स कम्स. सो बेसिकली बैंक्स के जो स्टेक होल्डर्स होते हैं इनिशियली आई विल टॉक अबाउट द NBFC एंड फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूट, देन आई विल टॉक अबाउट communication strategies. Recently, Nirmala Sitharaman also has suggested all big financial institutes at least prepare 2 things immediately. One is preparation for crisis strategy, crisis management. Second, strategy for dialect preparation for crisis communication. So there are 2 strategies. One is crisis strategy, one is crisis communication. These are the 2 major aspects of this crisis communication. When banks or NBFC comes, normally, first and foremost, they must have trust of their investors. Recently you must have heard about Hindenburg problems, which was so big a problem that everyone were fearing that their name should not come in that. But some NBFC names have come, some banks have just come. That time they were fearing what to do. And because the crisis was so much big from national to international, so that time they were in the pressure. So trust of the investor is most important. While doing the trust, while getting the trust of investor, you should not only do the only exercise of advertising. If you increase just advertising that time, investor will feel they are just giving advertisement, not giving the right information. So communicating to the investor directly is the most important factor I would suggest. You must start immediately investor communication. And that is the most also. The investor communication when you start, you will get the trust of the, once you have the investor trust, you don't need to more to other things. First is the most important investor. Second, normally now is what's happening now, the investing agencies. Everyone says, if you are doing something, then only ED or CBI comes. If you don't do anything, then also CBI, EDI comes to you. So that is the most important. Everyone fear about that ED names. The agencies can name you anytime. Either agency can come to your door to investigate the things. So even Hawala, from Hawala to you can say the transfer of money, sometimes the fraud. So obviously that time you must be prepared how to deal with the agencies, and specifically when agencies are coming. See, there are difference, normally people don't know There are search and there are raids. There are two different things. There are two subjects, two words you can say. Sometimes agency comes just to search and just to take some accounts from you. That is not a raid. Raid is different, where you can confiscate something and some cash and other things you normally get it from there. So as a person, you must know that what is the difference, and you must tell to your corporate communication guy, a crisis management guy, this is the search. So when you started from there, obviously you can deal with that agencies, if agency is doing. And the third is normally comes recovery crisis. If NBFC or marketing or banks and financial, normally when the recovery guys, they are the third party. There is a pressure on them to collect more and more loan recovery and other things. That time they normally either they abuse, either they sometimes hit. That crisis always we deal, and that is most important, recovery crisis. That time again you need a crisis communication strategy, because nowadays, since there is so much problem because of social media, anyone can make the video, anyone can make a post on Twitter, anyone can say their voices on Facebook or anywhere. And nowadays people are more and more visual, so they can immediately react on that. So that goes viral. If that goes viral in social media, automatically media has to cover that. So that's why recovery crisis always are bigger. And that is the place where you must need to identify and crisis handling also. Now, online fraud and financial disturbance is also very important. Every banks and financial institutes are facing online fraud, especially many banks are complaining that their forged website is coming, or they are basically from there, everyone is making money, and their names are being made in scapegoat for that. So I would like to suggest major 4 problems. These are for the crisis management. Normally, in any banking system, there are 3-4 stakeholders. First is the financial employee, regulatory institution. Second is the customer or investor. Third is the media. Fourth is the politician, other celebrities also. आप लोगों को मैं एक छोटा सा स्टूडेंट बताना चाहता हूँ. महाराष्ट्र में एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है, आई विल नॉट नेम हिम, बट वो नोन है कि वो क्राइसिस ढूंढते हैं. क्राइसिस के बाद वो जो भी कंपनी या इंस्टीट्यूशन है उसको प्रेशराइज करते हैं और उसका जो मांडवली करते हैं और पैसा बनाते हैं. एवरीवन नोज हु इज़, बहुत ज़्यादा बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. लेकिन जब उस तरह की पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज मैदान में आ जाती हैं, तो दैट टाइम यू नीड अ कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन, नॉट ओनली एजेंसी बट प्रॉपर स्ट्रेटेजी कि उसको डील कैसे करना, बिकॉज देयर डिमांड समटाइम गोज करोर्स एंड करोर्स. वहाँ आप उनको कैसे, हाउ टू डील, दैट इज़ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. सो माय सजेशन इज, अब ये तो बैंक के साइड का है. दूसरा मैं क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन पे आई वुड लाइक टू, कि क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन के टाइम पे यू मस्ट हैव सम सिस्टम. You must have some, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 person, those have been trained in making or dealing with the crisis communication. Because crisis communication is not that the communication normal. Normally, in the PR side, you don't train them, you don't ask them to have a crisis communication. They are just a PR guy. They just send a press release to media, and they expect that when the time comes, the media will listen them and correct their news for the crisis communication. But it doesn't happen. You have to train them properly. You must tell them how to handle the crisis communication. So obviously, when you are making the corporate communication team, you must know that person background. They should not only from the PR, they should have also good connect to the media. What's happening nowadays, every media person is basically facing that, which I am also facing sometime. Every day you get 200, 300 press releases from various agencies, PR agencies. It irritated them. So sometimes when you demand help from them in corporate crisis communication, they also feel again there is a PR exercise. So you must tell your corporate communication team, boss, whenever there is a crisis, you must have relationship. And you must have that relationship that you can call them and correct the news. So that is also is most important part of crisis communication. And training of crisis communication is most also important. Normally what has happened, when the crisis comes, every institution, whether that is a financial institution or whether it is a company, they tend to not to speak anything. They stop speaking to anyone, neither from the media, neither from the company. First and foremost important communication for your employee. Ultimately, any news, if it's going to from out of the company, it goes by the employee. Sometimes the employee feels कि यार किसी को बता दिया. Sometimes employee himself pass the information. So you must train your entire group by saying this is the most important time. You must share the information, the important person, those who are in the system, and tell them if someone is calling, how to deal with them. Especially if media person, see, you don't expect that media person always call to the corporate communication team. What media person does, they just go to the internet, they search the number of your top management and they call. And that time management feels why they are calling me. They should call to the corporate communication guy. So this is normally happened if the big crisis comes, because media wants quote from the top management, not from the crisis communication or corporate communication person. So that time you must train your top management, or at least those are important person, how to deal. Specifically, I suggest at least train them to say, thank you, you called me. I am just going to look into this crisis and I will come back to you. Someone will come back to you. That is at least the response should be. You should not say, why he is calling me, you should not call me, or just not giving any answer to him, not just saying, I don't know anything about you, you can call to corporate. This is not the answer. You must prepare the answer by saying, I am looking into this and I will come to you, or someone will come to you. That is itself starting of a communication. So when the crisis comes, both the crisis communication agency and crisis communication people of institution should ready to talk. If they speak to ready, or at least they should speak to the agency. जैसे एक वो कहावत है ना कि डॉक्टर से आपको कुछ नहीं छुपाना चाहिए. So same thing happened with the corporate communication agency. Normally what happened when the crisis comes, the company or agency, they don't even inform the your agency, the PR agency, full facts. They just wanted to, the news should come down, news should be corrected. They don't give the actual facts. If you don't give the actual facts, corporate communication agency will not be prepared to give your right message to the other person. So you must give take them in confidence, because obviously NDA signs with each other. So you must give them full information and saying that this is the line which you should carry. Recently हमने एक बहुत बड़ी crisis एक डील की एक बैंक के लिए. जोधपुर में रिसेंटली एक बहुत बड़ा हुआ कि करीब 400 करोड़ रुपए बैंक से अचानक ट्रांसफर टू द कस्टमर्स के अकाउंट्स में जाने लगे बिकॉज ऑफ सिस्टम प्रॉब्लम. बट द बैंक एंड क्लाइंट विच वी आर डीलिंग, ही हैज़ नथिंग टू डू विथ हिम. पीपल वर ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस दिस system, but that was not working. So they transfer money from other bank, and then that bank has informed to the exchange or regulatory authorities that this is the problem of system. But my client name is also coming because people were accessing him. So what we did, first and foremost, we got entire system. We wanted to know what is the system. So we got the system, how money transferred from here to there. So that we system understand. Then we went to the media and by saying, my client is not responsible, not a single penny transfer from my client. That is the first information I have given. After some time, that other bank has given exchange notification to the regulatory authorities. So that we procure, and then we share to the media. So after 1 or 2 days, the entire crisis died down because media understand. See, one thing is you must know, media is not paid for you. You are paying for the agency. You are not paying for the media. So never ever is the marketing agency, who is ever telling to you, don't go by the theory that if the agency or anyone saying we pay to the media, all media, it is not possible nowadays. Media scenario is too vast. More than 1 lakh website working is now in country. So anyone can paste your news, anyone can do the viral, anyone can take your news. So never believe on the paying. Better to believe on the relationship. So always find with the agency if it's coming, ask them whether you have a relationship with them and whether they can prove that, the relationship. If they can prove that, that is the most important. Also, one thing is nowadays more important. Normally, legal team also comes in the picture when crisis communication comes. But normally whatever legal teams are doing, they don't have any communication with the either PR agency, either your corporate communication guy. They are doing their own work their own way. But nowadays, many social platforms, they need legal notice or legal something information from the legal team to drop down the news, like Facebook, any company, if you are going to there, they need proper official communication from your team. If you are giving them from the legal time, obviously you can cut down the news from the social media. If you can control the social media, automatically you can control the media. So that is the most important suggestion from me. And one more thing normally I see as a PR journalist, normally when the crisis comes, but that time again the hierarchy comes in the picture. But when crisis is there, लाइक हमारे घर में क्राइसिस होती है, हमारे घर में यदि कोई बाहर का पड़ोसी आ जाए और झगड़ने लगे तो हम पूरा घर इकट्ठा होकर उसको लड़ने चले जाते हैं। सो ऑब्वियसली जब क्राइसिस आएगी तो उस टाइम पे आप प्लीज़ हायरार्की के सिस्टम में ना पढ़ें, बनस्पत इस पर पढ़ें कि कैसे क्राइसिस को डील किया जाए। क्योंकि एज ए मार्केटिंग गाय आप लोग दिन रात मेहनत करते हैं कि ब्रांड कैसे प्रमोट हो, ब्रांड कैसे आगे बढ़े, ब्रांड ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि आपके कारण ही वो कंपनी चल रही है। बिकॉज जब तक आप लोग हैं, जब तक आप लोग बाहर से पैसा ला रहे हैं, तब तक कंपनी चल रही है और बाकी सिस्टम चल रहा है। सो मार्केटिंग गाइज के तौर पे आपको ये अवेयर जरूर होना होगा कि ब्रांड प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए आज का इतना कॉम्पिटिटिव वर्ल्ड है जहाँ कोई भी कुछ भी लिख सकता है सोशल मीडिया पे। सो वेन एवर क्राइसिस कम्स यू मस्ट वर्क एज ए टीम। दिस इज़ माई सजेशन टू यू एंड सम मोर सजेशन विच आई कैन से कि वेन एवर देयर कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन एजेंसी आप उससे डायरेक्ट बात करें। बिकॉज एज ए मार्केटिंग पर्सन यू आर ऑन द फील्ड, यू नो द नुआंसेस ऑफ द एक्चुअल क्राइसिस। नॉर्मली इवन कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन वाले पर्सन को भी नहीं पता होता है कि एक्चुअली व्हाट हैपन टू द ग्राउंड। You know the actual nuances and you must talk directly to the agency either through your communication guy. If you speak very fast, very soon you can take it that. जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि time is most important. Any crisis, if you react immediately in 12 hours, that will be controlled. My personal experience is if you react immediately, that will be controlled. If you wait for that message will go to the top down and then they will clear whether speak or not, then automatically that will be spread, then it will be difficult to handle the crisis. You can even handle. And lastly, what I would like to say, आप लोग दिल्ली गए होंगे कभी ट्रेन से, which must be everyone have been traveled. So you must be read everywhere. वहाँ एक चीज़ लिखी होती है, रिश्ते ही रिश्ते। जब भी आप कभी ट्रेन से जाएंगे तो यू कैन सी वॉल फ्रॉम आगरा टू दिल्ली, यू कैन सी रिश्ते ही रिश्ते। सो बेसिकली दिस इज़ द की। If you make relationship all time, you can use them in crisis management. If you don't make relationship and you wanted them to be only in crisis management, sorry boss, doesn't work like this. You have to make relationship, चाहे लाइफ हो, चाहे आपकी ज़िंदगी में जिस तरह की परेशानी आती हो। आपके यदि 4 दोस्त हैं तो वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। कोविड में आपने देख लिया कि यदि रिश्ते हैं तो आप हमेशा से अलाइव हैं, चाहे आप फेसबुक ग्रुप पे रहें या कोविड में सोशल मीडिया ग्रुप पे रहें। यू मेड ए ग्रुप्स बिकॉज यू वांटेड नेटवर्किंग। So ultimately, what is networking? That is a net worth. So use a relationship, not only you, by the agency and everywhere. So if you make relationship, that always work. So media point of view, say relationship only works. Don't think that if you are giving something, that only works. So my suggestion, have a lively relationship. If you have lively relationship, obviously you will get result maximum. And crisis, ऐसी कोई क्राइसिस नहीं है जिसको हम डील नहीं कर सकते। आखिरी में भगवान बुद्ध ने कहा है कि ज़िंदगी में दुख है तो दुख का कारण भी है और उसका निवारण भी है। तो हम जब तक बिजनेस में हैं तो क्राइसिस है, क्राइसिस के रीजंस भी हैं और क्राइसिस का निराकरण भी है। थैंक यू।